when you just take the statement for what it is, you're saying that you, like the reality of who you are, is just that thing that you can't even name. You're just everything, right? And I came across the concept from reading a book called, a book that I didn't think was gonna make me think this way, first of all, because when I picked up this book, when I ordered it off Amazon from a recommendation that I heard on a TikTok video saying that this was one of the most transformative books for this man to become successful, or on his journey to be successful, like the thing that kind of like helped him mentally to understand more about himself or whatever. It was a book called Conversations with God. Now, when I started reading this book, I was reading the Bible like a lot, morning and night, but I wanted to just take a gander and see what this book was about. And the concepts are laid out in a super easy to understand way, but what the author talks about isn't what I expected. Like the way the writing is, what you actually read in the book, the content of it isn't what you would expect. It's not a super religious book. It's not even a super Christian book or anything like that. It's just a conversation that the author, it's like letters that he's composed into this book, letters that he's had with God, like conversating with him. He would write these letters to God and have like conversations back and forth with himself, basically, which I think is so cool. I think it's around basically the same thing as prayer, but he was just recording it. He was getting it documented, which I think is so absolutely important that people don't really do. But I digress. He goes on this concept of like you being everything. Like that when you speak to me, and this is God speaking to him, he's like, when you speak to me, who do you think that is? And he's like, I don't know, like you're God. You're supposed to know that. And it's a very natural conversation, like a very free-flowing conversation, the kind of conversation you would expect between two friends, basically. And I love how in the book he takes the concept of God, he takes God off of this pedestal, or rather, God takes himself off so that he can understand. So he can understand him and understand the makeup of things and just how much control you actually have. So when I say something like, or when I read someone's, the statement, I am God, or you are God, or we are all God, we're all parts of the whole, I'm not offended. I'm not threatened by that. Why should I be threatened by that? I just love the way the author talked about it in this book, because it's very like the tenseness leaves your body as you're reading the words, because it takes you out of the social programming that you've been a part of your whole life. And it makes you basically look at yourself, look at you and your thoughts and the reality that you in first person experience, and allow you to think for yourself. Because until you're able to think for yourself on a consistent basis, it's very difficult for you to set your own path in life. Until you do that consistently, it's too easy to fall back to old patterns which were created during the time of your unconsciousness, during times when you didn't understand that you were being programmed. Not maliciously, but through growing up, you don't realize how much of your experience in those first early years, 1 to 7 and more, are shaping your world, and like the way that you think, it's shaping your reality, it's shaping the way your future will unfold before you. And when you get to a certain age, you seem to think that things are just happening to you. But when you learn and you discover and experience the absolute fact that you created all of it, that the point that you're at in your life, you led yourself there. Like your internal ecosystem led you there. And then from that point, you're able to reinstall new software to where the old software can wear out and degenerate. And, obviously you keep the things that you want, but I don't think you have to literally go in and find all of the different beliefs you have. Decide which beliefs are the most useful to you, which beliefs would lead you to the most fulfillment and peace and love and belonging and feeling like the person you're trying to become. Which beliefs which beliefs belong to that person? And you can impress your mind with those beliefs. You can impress the core of your being deeply with these beliefs, these statements. You can turn them into statements and repeat them over and over and over and over and over, day in and day out, day in and day out. And it's not ever a hassle, because what are you doing? You're literally just reading words, declaring that they are who you are. And if you do this enough times, especially during the periods of the day when your mind is the most receptive, such as in the mornings when you're just waking up and right before you fall asleep, if you go into this trance-like state where you're able to receive without judgment, which up until you discovering pretty much all limiting beliefs are limiting because they're attached with a judgment that we put onto them. That, by the way, might not even be our beliefs. I don't think anyone truly believes in the limiting beliefs that they have. Like, even if they got them from other people, those people, that's not what they really believe. Somewhere along the line, people get kicked when they're down, and it's just easier to believe that you're not worthy, or that you don't deserve that job that you want, or you just don't deserve the life that you think in your mind is so unfair that you don't have, that other people have. So once you understand that your life's all just been a program, and you're able to program yourself like a programmer, actually write down or decide exactly what you want to believe. If you can decide what you at least want to believe, you can then start on believing it. You can start the journey of slowly, like, you get to a point where you believe something just from hypnotizing yourself. But the whole point of I forgot why I even mentioned that, like why I even brought that up, but I'm glad that I brought it up in the first place, because it's the whole core of everything that I'm interested in. It's at the center of all of the things that I'm passionate about, is the discovery. When I made the discovery that you can literally have anything you want, and it's just all a matter of, do you believe that you're worthy of it? Do you believe that that's you? Like, that is you, that's yours. Everything around me is an expression of everything I've done. Like, what I do is an expression of who I believe that I am. Therefore, I shouldn't work backwards and be like, have these goals without changing my self-image. I can have goals, and I can take actions, and I can do these things that will absolutely probably move a goalpost. But imagine if I also worked on the self-image that makes those things easy. If I became the person internally that believed that he deserved love, care, compassion, wealth, health, well-being, anything you can think of. If you so much as just believed it, right? Imagine how much harder it is to do the things that would technically lead to success without believing that you're worthy of what would come of it. There's plenty of cases of that, by the way. All throughout life in different industries, people work tirelessly for the things that they want while never getting it, or making such small improvements, so small to the point that they give up. That's why it matters. I'm not saying that the improvement doesn't matter, but when it's so small, to someone who has a low self-esteem, they'll give up on their dreams before it's time for them to realize it, before it's time to reap the rewards of their hard work. Because internally, deep down, they never quite believed that it was going to pay off, They didn't believe it was going to pay off because they didn't believe that they were already worthy of it. That you don't need those things. They're only icing on the cake. They're an expression of who you are. So if you believe you're that person, if you believe that you are the things that you desire who you are, and because you never leave your side, you can never lack in anything. Therefore, everything else just becomes play. And you can, with a healthy state of mind, a light-hearted state of mind, go after the things that you want, not in an incessant, desperate need to attain them, but out of fun, the fun and the joy that creation is. You're creating, right? It's just it's an act of creation. A creation that's basically just a rearrangement of things, because everything already exists anyways. It's already been created. So there's nothing for you to do but to revel in your own beingness.